Honorable Speaker and Honorable Senators of this House, I want to take this opportunity to really thank you for your time. I know it has not been easy for you. God bless you for your time. Honorable Speaker, I'm here today pleading with this House. And I want to say it in Kiswahili. Mateso ni mengi, lakini Mungu tusaidia. If I have wronged any person in this House, in Meru, in Kenya, I pray for forgiveness. As a mother, a leader, it is my duty to unite Meru people. And I pray for more grace, that God will give me power to bring all the leaders together. I pray unto our Father to give me more energy, to give me more grace. Na Mungu anipe kuvumilia kwingi to see Meru people happy. The members of Parliament, our dear Deputy Senator of this House, the MCAs, Deputy Speaker, if I've wronged any one of you, forgive me. Honorable Speaker, I was elected as an independent governor. I know I need MCAs. I've tried my best, and I shall still continue trying my best to see that I work with everyone. Honorable Speaker and this Honorable House, no one is an angel. I'm not an angel. Each and every one of us has his or her own weaknesses. It is my prayer to God that the weaknesses that they might have, God will help me, so that we work together as a team and make Meru people happy. Honorable Speaker, honorable members of this House, I take this opportunity again to say thank you, and I pray that you give me a second chance. God bless you.
Impeaching governors is not always the best solution. Mr. Speaker, sir, Kiambu, the second richest county in this republic, lost 5 years because this Senate was in a hurry to respond to political feelings outside the Senate, and they brought problems in Kiambu for 5 years. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to lawyers of the Republic of Kenya. When you are a lawyer, it doesn't mean you are everything. I have listened to the presentation of Dr. Tiangulu, my own friend, about the evidence of IFMIS. I'm shocked. Completely, Mr. Speaker, and as the longest-serving chairman of public accounts in the Republic of Kenya, I can confirm that I know IFMIS. Mr. Speaker, if you indulge me, no IFMIS report comes out with one transaction. impressed up to the end. No. If Ms. report, Mr. Speaker, comes out with what was spent on interest and what was spent on other expenses. And Mr. Speaker, everything that comes out on IFMIS does not turn out to be genuine. There is something at the end of IFMIS, Mr. Speaker, where the IFMIS report rejects. Mr. Speaker, if we go by that report without subjecting this to an audit report.
Your time is up. Your time is up, Senator Boni. You're off record. You're off record. Senator Kavindu. Order. Order, members. Order, members. Order, member. Order, Senator Boni. Order. Senator Boni, kindly take your seat. Order. Order, honorable senators. Order. Senator Boni, Senator Mundigi. You will be watching this session from your lounge if you proceed that way. Senator Kavindu, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I want to say that it has been a good time to listen to both parties, the County Assembly and the governor's side. But, Mr. Speaker, if I may be very honest, if there is a day in this House I was disappointed, is today. Because when I listened, these are issues that would have been solved at Meru level. Those are not issues to be brought to the Senate, because there is no weighty issues that cannot be solved at Meru. The only issue that was very heavy for me is the abusive words that those men used on the governor. I cried. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to walk and go because I could not bear watching the abusive words that were being used to the governor. We are women, yes. We are educated, just like the men.
Who is that who set an alarm to wake up to go where? Can you hold that time for Senator Kavindu?
Yes, please hold the time for
senators,
me.
put your phones on silent mode.
Mr. Speaker, we are women. We are women, we have daughters, and we need to be given space in political arenas that we may also portray our potential like any other person. We are leaders and we can lead, but we don't need this kind of bullying, because even if, if we are given space, we can work. People of Machakos today ask me, was this potential within you all those years? Because of what I do. I am sure the way I've seen the MCIs working with the governor, if they are given humble time and no insights from anywhere, they can work and they can deliver. Mr. Speaker, I'm very disappointed, and I don't see anything that can make anyone go. Thank you, Mr.
Senator Ali Roba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We've listened for the last 2 days on issues that have been raised by the County Assembly of Meru and the governor's team. And as an experienced governor, I've listened very keenly on issues that touch on the running of the office. And I've picked 3 very critical issues that came to light. And also, as I watched the premeditated position of leaders within Meru, that came out very clearly in terms of, a position that really indicated that the governor has become an unwanted person and at whatever cost they needed to get rid of her. That has also come out extremely clearly. And, as I listened very keenly, the examination and cross-examination, and because we used the plenary format, the senators were just at the mercy of trying to internalize what is being shared and the cross-examination that was being shared. And the time to cross-examine was not sufficient for us to get out the information that was required. However, it has been, in the last one year and few months, we've handled 3 impeachments in the Senate. By far, this will be the most difficult, the most testing in terms of conscience and decision for the senators in this House. However, what is in question is a very weighty matter, regardless of which direction we are going to take as senators. I don't see a solution ahead as a governor who has served for 10 years, whether the governor is impeached or the impeachment of the governor is not approved by this House. I see sadness moving forward, regardless of whichever way we're going to vote. And that has been consciously the most disturbing position for me as a leader who has served as a governor for 10 years. Because I've said, if we go this way, what will be the result? If we go this way, what will be the result? And I don't see light at the end of the tunnel.
Senator Ledama.
Mr. Speaker, I speak here today as a father of 2 lovely daughters whom I'd like to see grow, become leaders like the way God has blessed me. What I witnessed today, Mr. Speaker, is something which negates that dreams if we do not stand and to be counted. What I've witnessed today, Mr. Speaker, is this Senate being reduced into being an internal audit. Mr. Speaker, the lawyers presented something which negates the Public Audit Act Section 31, which is quite clear on the process of audit. Mr. Speaker, sir, Article 228, Section 5 is very clear. It says the controller of budget shall not authorize any withdrawal of funds from the county revenue fund unless she's satisfied that that withdrawal is authorized by law. Mr. Speaker, sir, we've been entertained by a charade of just nuendos. There was nothing that you can be able to prove. I am a ranking member of the Senate Public Accounts Committee, and I know the process. I know what IFMIS is. I know the PFM Act, Section 103 establishes a county treasury, and he puts in the treasurer or the CMC as the head of that fund. Mr. Speaker, sir, I sat down here, and to be honest with you, when I watched those videos, something came to my mind. And I said, you know what? That conference of 1885 in Berlin conference was ill-advised. The British should have just left us with our uncouth and civilized behaviors. To see a honorable member, someone who calls himself a honorable member, walking across the streets of our civilized nation, what we call civilized, and saying that certain weapons or certain tools should be used to be able to punish a woman. It's uncouth and uncivilized, and shame on them. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have gone through the 7 allegations, and none of them, Mr. Speaker, sir, has been substantiated. We are being introduced, we are being invited, Mr. Speaker, sir, to get into a conflict of manhood, and humanhood. Mr. Speaker, sir, I second the sentiments of the majority leader when he said that it's about time that if these leaders of Meru cannot get their act together, we might as well call a commission of inquiry to suspend that county. It is ridiculous, Mr. Speaker, sir, and we cannot allow this Senate to be reduced to that. Mr. Speaker, sir, we should know better.
Senator Nyamu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have listened very carefully to the submissions from both sides since the beginning of this matter. Mr. Speaker, the million-dollar questions for this House and my colleagues is, does this matter before us meet the threshold for impeachment? And I want to quote the guidelines given by the Supreme Court of the threshold of conduct of the counsel for the county assembly alluded as gross misconduct. Mr. Speaker, is the conduct of the county governor of Meru, is it grave? Is it disgusting? Is it heinous? And is it audacious? And all that appertains gross misconduct? The answer is no. Mr. Speaker, we must not, as a House, drown in the murky waters that is Meru politics. We must be very careful that we do not drown as a House in those murky waters. Mr. Speaker, the MCAs of Meru have failed to demonstrate that they can be independent and they can make decisions that are not influenced from outside. And we must not join them. Mr. Speaker, I want to say tonight that the matter before us should not have got here. I do not see how this matter got here, because this is pure politics that should be handled at the ground in Meru. I am very saddened, I am very disappointed, and I am not going to be part, let it be known by those I am disappointing tonight, that I cannot be, as Senator Karen Nyamu, I am not going to be part of ending a young career of the woman governor of Meru simply because she did not take a tea invitation from so-and-so. She does not get along with whoever. We're experiencing that in Nairobi.
Your time is up. Your time is up. Senator Kajwang. Order. Order, senators. Order. Order, senators. Can Senator Kajwang be heard in silence? Senator Kajwang.
Mr. Speaker, I first want to congratulate the County Assembly of Meru. They have done their constitutional mandate. And if this parliament did half of what the County Assembly of Meru has done over the last 1 year, Mr. Speaker, the cost of living would be much lower. And some people will not be living in the houses they are living up on hills. I want to congratulate the County Assembly of Meru that whatever the outcome of today, they should not go home feeling that they did the wrong thing. They undertook their constitutional mandate. Mr. Speaker, today we are damned if we do, we are damned if we don't. Let me make it clear. The misogyny that has been demonstrated in some of the videos, the chauvinism, the incitement to tribal hatred has no place in a modern Kenya. And Mr. Speaker, those are things that we should not be massaging. Those are criminal actions. Gender-based violence is such a grave criminal action that if I had an option to ask the governor a question, I would have asked whether she reported those matters to the police, because impunity breeds in silence. Mr. Speaker, from the submissions, it appears as if everybody in Meru is mad. We are in a season of madness in Meru. And that, Mr. Speaker, the only sane person in Meru today is the governor and the spouse. That is what has come out of the submissions. But, Mr. Speaker, could that be true? That all the great men and women of Meru, including the Deputy Speaker of this House, are mad, are in a season of madness, and the only lucid person can be the governor? Mr. Speaker, that presupposes and that indicates there's a big, big problem that an impeachment cannot solve. Mr. Speaker, we have a patient with 2 damaged kidneys. We take out 1 kidney, the patient will not survive. You take out the governor, you leave the assembly, you still have a problem. You reinstate the kidney, which is the governor, you still have a problem. Mr. Speaker, Article 192 says that where a county government has irretrievably broken down, that county should be suspended, that county should be sent to a fresh election. And Mr. Speaker, even though we do not have the original jurisdiction on that, I want to encourage the citizens of Meru to call for a suspension of the county government, to send Governor Kawira'S back to the people, and to send the MCAs back to the people. We have been told a lot of stories about who is popular and who is not popular. But finally, Mr. Speaker, let us not forget that in 2010, this nation discharged Nancy Baraza of a role as a Deputy Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Kenya on very spurious allegations. But that has set a precedent that has been part of a jurisprudence. If we were to go with that threshold, then Governor Kawira'S should go home.
Senator Wakoli.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Nashukuru sana kwa nafasi hii ambayo nimepewa kujadili hoja nzito za usawa, haki na ukweli. Mheshimiwa, ukipewa nafasi kutafuta amani kati ya wendawazimu wawili, unashindwa utaanza vipi? Ama iwapo wewe ni mhubiri na unamuombea mwendawazimu, Mheshimiwa Spika, utafumba macho ukiomba ama utayakodoa macho pima ukiomba? Hiyo ndio hali tumo sasa. Tunakashifu matamshi mabaya dhidi ya wanawake, lakini pia lazima tukashifu matendo mabaya yanayotendwa na wanawake. Iwapo kuna ubadhirifu wa pesa, lazima tuseme. Iwapo kuna matusi dhidi ya wanawake na jinsia zao, lazima tukashifu. Iwapo viongozi hawawezi kaa pamoja na kujadiliana, lazima tuseme ukweli. Kwa sababu sisi katika jamii yetu tunasema maji yasipotifuliwa hayawezi tulia. Haya maji ya Meru yametifuliwa, Mheshimiwa Spika, lazima tuache yatokote na yatulie. Yamefika hapa, Mheshimiwa Spika, yanatokota, lazima tuamue yatulie, watu wa Meru wasonge mbele. Haiwezekani viongozi hawa kusema yale wanayosema pasipo shinikizo ama kunyoshewa vidole na viongozi wengine. Iwapo wewe unasema ni bishop na unasema wenye wivu wajinyonge, ni mahubiri yapi tunaendeleza katika nchi ya Kenya? Lazima tuseme ukweli. Tumejadili mambo ya uhubiri, wahubiri wawe wa ukweli, viongozi wawe wa ukweli, na bado nitasema fisi aliambia mawe, hata tukinyamaza vipi mumesikia, na lazima tupige kura turekebishe mambo ya Meru. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Mogeni.
Mr. Speaker, if there is an image that had stuck with me ever since this impeachment trial started, it is the image I saw of some acts against the governor of Meru. Mr. Speaker, I can be rough in politics. Mr. Speaker, I can make mistakes in politics, but I will never, and I've never descended to the level I saw in the videos that were displayed before this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, however much you hate a human being, Mr. Speaker, if you are a Christian or you believe in the Almighty God, Mr. Speaker, there are some utterances you cannot make against some other human beings when you are a leader, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, despite the things, the wrongdoings we have seen against the governor of Meru, Mr. Speaker, we must ask ourselves, Mr. Speaker, when history is written, Mr. Speaker, and we are the 47 of us who sat here, Mr. Speaker, how did our conscience respond to the videos that were played before us, Mr. Speaker? How will the people of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, judge us? Because it is not just the governor who is on trial, Mr. Speaker. It is the Senate of the Republic of Kenya that is on trial tonight, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I want to state at 11:45, Mr. Speaker, without fear of any contradiction, that the vote I have tonight, Mr. Speaker, the one delegation from Nyamira, Mr. Speaker, I owe my vote, Mr. Speaker, to the great women of this country called Kenya, Mr. Speaker. I owe my vote, Mr. Speaker, to the women who have faith in me from the county of Nyamira, Mr. Speaker. I owe my vote, Mr. Speaker, to the great woman who raised me, Mama Nyamokami. And Mr. Speaker, I want to give confidence tonight to the woman who will receive me when I go home, my wife Jacqueline, that I have respect for the women of this republic, Mr. Speaker. And when I cast my vote, Mr. Speaker, is to give assurance to my two lovely daughters, Nyamokami and Aliero, that we must treat the women of Kenya with honor and respect, Mr. Speaker. That is the vote that I carry, Mr. Speaker, tonight. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Tobiko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. And Mr. Speaker, throughout this impeachment petition, Mr. Speaker, I took my time to listen to both sides without trying to give my advice to my sister, as was expected by many Kenyans and by many people in Meru. Mr. Speaker, the Council for the County Assembly, Thiangolu, has said that quite a number of charges were like repetitions of the same charges that were in the first impeachment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, then I don't know whether this was just an appeal of what this House had already made a decision on, Mr. Speaker. They could be allowed by law, Mr. Speaker, but I don't think they should have then wasted the time of this House, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, because of time, my submission this evening, Mr. Speaker, is that there could be administrative omissions and commissions. But Mr. Speaker, do they meet the threshold of impeachment, Mr. Speaker? As far as I'm concerned, these are non-impeachable offenses, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what we have seen throughout these 2 days is hounding of a woman out of office through emotional abuse, through intimidation, through slander, Mr. Speaker, through threats on her life, Mr. Speaker. We have also seen tribal and ethnic profiling, Mr. Speaker, issues that I think NCIC should pick up, Mr. Speaker. And I would want, Mr. Speaker, to advise the governor of Meru that whatever happens to you this evening, there are cases here that you should take to court, Mr. Speaker. This is very scary to aspiring women of this country. Mr. Speaker, I kept asking myself, is this what is awaiting the women governors in this country, Mr. Speaker? Those who will try to get into the political positions that are the domain of men in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would say that what the county has continued to pursue is what Nyangolu had mentioned the other time, that the election brought undesired consequences, Mr. Speaker. They must live with their choice, Mr. Speaker. As far as I'm concerned, the Meru people elected Governor Kawira'S Mwangaza, and the will of the people is supreme, and they must live with their choice for the next 5 years. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, on my first day in this House, I took an oath to protect this Constitution. And I'm sure the people of Meru will appreciate, because they also know about oaths, why I would insist on defending this document on every occasion. Mr. Speaker, under Article 94 of this Constitution, I'm enjoined to be a protector of counties and the interests of their governments. And that is exactly what I'm going to do, whether I know anything about any of your counties, whether I have ever been there, whether I know anyone from there or not, because that is the oath that I took, Mr. Speaker. It has set a very high threshold for the removal of a governor under Article 181 on gross violation of the Constitution and the law, gross misconduct and abuse of office, or where there are serious reasons to believe that the county governor has committed a crime under national or international law. Mr. Speaker, my expectation from the county was to meet a case that demonstrates this particular standard that has been set by the Constitution. Now, there is one telling thing that came from the submissions of counsel, my good friend Siankolu, that in fact the motivation of the MCAs does not matter. I want to try and persuade this House that motivation is everything. The reason why human beings do things is absolutely critical to the doing of those things. Mr. Speaker, because what motivation does, it sets a goal for you, and then you look for a means to get to that particular goal. We have seen the evidence that has been laid here demonstrate clearly that a decision was made that Kawira'S Mwangaza had to go as a governor of Meru. And then steps and plans were put in place to be able to meet that particular goal. And that is something that I cannot abide as a senator sworn to protect the interests of counties. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak to two analogies that have, been used quite extensively by the team from the County Assembly. One, Mr. Speaker, is the analogy of the scorpion and the frog. I do not think anyone can ascribe the innocence of the frog in that particular analogy to the County Assembly of Meru. At the very minimum, it is a scorpion being carried by a crocodile on its back, because both animals are extremely dangerous from the evidence that we have seen here. Mr. Speaker, secondly, it is this much repeated song by Shaggy called It Wasn't Me. In fact, in that particular song, Council forgot that there was a collabo. There's another gentleman who's singing in that song as well. That gentleman says, I was caught live. There are photos. There is evidence. That is what we expected from the County Assembly. In the evidence of the photos of this gentleman on the counter, in the shower, as the council sang, Mr. Speaker, it is difficult for me to get behind the case by the County Assembly. I rest my case.
Senator Keroche.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving this opportunity. And for me, I agree, there's something wrong in Meru. There's something wrong in Meru County, the Moi County. But there's a saying that says, two elephants, when they fight, the grass is the one that suffers. In this case, the grass is the Meru people. So we must ensure that we make the right decision in a very sober manner. Both parties, I can say both parties, their representation was not convincing, both parties. And whatever they brought in here, it is something I believe, as Senator Kavindo has said, could have been solved at the Senate. The two videos at main Meru, the videos that we've seen, they've portrayed the Meru men be very sex abusers. But for me, I can bear witness that in Nakuru, we have over 5,000 Meru men, and they respect women. So in that video, please, I ask Kenyans just to know that it's only those Meru men that were in those videos that it's not on the Meru men. I want to take this opportunity. I really want to take this opportunity and advise my sister, Her Excellency Governor Kawira, in the world we are living in, women to rise to the top, it takes a while, or it takes you work 5 times to reach to the top. But when you reach there, ensure you become a role model, that where women want to become like you. Men want their girls to be like you, but not their wives, because they only admire the power in you, but they don't like the power. So exercise the power that you've been bestowed by the male people very responsibly, so that the men can support you and walk with you. I've walked that journey, so I know. So going forward, ensure you go and unite the people of Meru. Unite all the leaders of Meru. Because believe me, in case of any...
Senator Ojenda. Senator Ojenda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for according me the opportunity to make a contribution to the debate before the House on the impeachment of Senator Mwangaza under Articles 181 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is clear that the 7 charges leveled against the Governor of Meru have a set threshold that must be established in now settled decisions of the Supreme Court on the impeachment of Governor Sonko, and set by the Court of Appeal on the impeachment of Governor Wambora. Mr. Speaker, sir, I participated in both cases. I've also had the advantage, Mr. Speaker, sir, of participating in the impeachment of the Governor of Wajir, Mr. Mohamud, who is successfully returned to office after impeachment. The threshold question, Mr. Speaker, sir, is therefore important, and I just want to address myself to that question. Mr. Speaker, sir, the charges included misappropriation and misuse of county resources, nepotism and related unethical practices, bullying, vilification and demeaning of other leaders, as set out under Article 75, 2 and 3, illegal appointments and usurpation of statutory powers, contempt of court, illegally naming a public road after a husband, and lastly, contempt of the county assembly. It is imperative that the threshold set, or that should be set and as properly defined in the Sonko case, should be above, somewhere above the doubt, and somewhere below the threshold required for criminal trials. But Mr. Speaker, sir, turn to the effect of impeachments, and this is what should guide this assembly in voting. The effect of an impeachment is to permanently bar an individual from holding any public office. So whatever you do today, you'd be barring Governor Mwangaza from holding any public office in the Republic. Is this a fair act that this Senate should sit back and undertake when voting? I think that is the $6 million question. Mr. Speaker, sir, the gender question, and I think this is something, and I don't want to talk about scorpions and crocodiles and frogs, but in my understanding of what is before this Senate, the levels that have been defined.
Is up, Senator Charanke.
Mr. Speaker, sir, one, I want to congratulate members of County Assembly. I predicted in December that we'll go back where we are today. During the first impeachment, I want to thank the MCS, Mr. Speaker. It is their constitutional right. Impeachment is a political process. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy gender is not on trial. It is about the competency, the ability, and discharge of the work of the governor. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the loss of 78 million, Mr. Speaker, the county assembly has gone beyond and proved that the governor could not account for 78 million. Mr. Speaker, that charge has been proved. Number two, Mr. Speaker, on the appointment, I was shocked, Mr. Speaker, under Article 183, Article 65, Article Section 30 and Section 45 of the County Governments Act, Mr. Speaker. You have been a governor. It is very clear that the governor abdicated. And in fact, on the record, the governor said she had delegated her role to County Secretary, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, number three, it goes to the point. Where is the 1.5 Meru people, Mr. Speaker? It cannot be that you don't agree with the MCS, you don't agree with the church, you don't agree with Njurinjeke, you don't agree with elected leaders, 10 or 11 of them, Mr. Speaker. It is not that all others are wrong, Mr. Speaker, until you disfranchise, humiliate, vilify, bully elected leaders in front of the president. Mr. Speaker, the deputy president and the president on several occasions have tried to reconcile. What is it hard for governor to work with the rest? Because whenever a problem comes, they only come up with a gender guard. And I tell you, there is a saying that is popular that what a man can do, a woman can do more. What has happened? There were insults from the men. But did you see, Mr. Speaker, on record on WhatsApp, the governor herself said to the deputy governor, you will defecate avocado seeds, Mr. Speaker. So which insult is better than the other, Mr. Speaker? We cannot hide, Mr. Speaker. We must lift the veil. For Meru to move forward, we must stand with the MCS and give them the confidence to ensure oversight, Mr. Speaker. I can assure you, Mr. Speaker, if today Governor Kawira'S Mwangaza, Mr. Speaker, is shown the door, Meru will heal and will go for the better going into the future. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, because of the short time, I want to start by saying that from the onset, this Senate agreed that we are going to listen to this case, the merits and demerits of the case, and make a decision. Mr. Speaker, I've spent hours here, sitting here, listening to the presentation from the two parties. And I want to say that I was shocked, Mr. Speaker, as an IT expert in my other life, that the county assembly presented to this house an extract from IFMIS. An extract from IFMIS.
Order, honorable senators. May the senator be heard in silence.
An alleged extract from IFMIS that is not verified. Mr. Speaker, this house has passed a law called the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act 2018. And I participated in processing this bill. Under Section 14, subsection 2, it is very clear that any data from a computer system, especially a computer system that is categorized under Section 9 of the same Act as a critical information infrastructure, that access must be based on a consent. Mr. Speaker, we have been presented with an extract from IFMIS which has no consent. Yes, they made an attempt to get a consent, but there are other offices which could have provided the consent, like the Controller of Budget Office, the Treasury, and even the IFMIS Directorate itself. They never made that effort. Mr. Speaker, this particular extract was provided by an anonymous person called Salasio. This man has not been brought to this house to testify. This man is not known whether this money exists or not. The house cannot, a house of parliament is a house of record. We cannot be made to sit here for hours listening to submission based on a document that is not verified, a document that is unlawful. Mr. Speaker, this house has to be respected. In addition to that, Mr. Speaker, there were some submissions given as evidence of WhatsApp. And this matter was questioned by Senator Gloria. And the council on the other side brushed over the issue. But if you go to another law that was passed by this House called the Data Protection Act, Section 26 of that act talks about the data subject rights.
Senator Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I first want to start appreciating the County Assembly of Meru County for the far they've come from. It's been challenging. It's been evident out there. It's been tough. They've walked a journey like any other journey that you can walk. Every journey has turbulence. Every journey has ups and downs. I note that we have very few women governors. We have only 7. Kawira is one of them. Governor Kawira, this is the second time that you've been returned to this House. I do not agree in any capacity in regards to the videos that we've seen, especially with some of the Meru leaders who are men. Mr. Speaker, I speak as a married woman, one married from the Meru community. Meru men are respectful. What we've seen is among the few. It is sad. It should not happen. I speak as a mother of a girl child. It is sad. As women, we are very few in this House, only 21. Our positions in this government, they are few. And I want to say and urge, in the event, Madam Governor, you get a chance to go and work for the people of Meru, I challenge you and ask you and request you, bring your house in order. Because as a leader, it is not the members of parliament you will work with. It is these MCAs who have to pass your budget. It worries. If then you cannot work with them, then the budgets will not be passed. Developments will not be done. Services will not be rendered. It will be unfair for the people. If this House decides that it will be a sad affair, the worst to happen, it will be sad because we'll have reduced from 7 to 6 governors. So I request you, I urge you that with whatever results that shall be there, we try as leaders to ensure that we try and work together, because without working with these same MCAs, there is no opportunity. I worked with you last time up there, and that is why all the time you'll find that the cameras, the gazettes, will always have my point.
Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia mjadala huu muhimu ambao uko mbele yetu. Kwanza napongeza pande zote mbili, pande ya Assembly na pande ya Governor, kwa kuja bunge la Senate kujaribu kutatua matatizo yao. Na upande wote uamuzi utakaotoka hapa ni kwamba hakuna upande ambao utakuwa umeshinda. Ni kwamba uamuzi utakaotoka hapo utakuwa ni uamuzi wa bunge ambao lazima tuukubali na vile vile pia utekeleze kama itakavyokubalika. Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi kama Waislamu tunasema kosa moja haliachi mke, haliachi bibi, kosa moja haliachi bibi. Na tunasema pia kwamba talaka ni mara 3. Unaweza kumpa bibi talaka akenda akarudi, kampa ya pili akenda akarudi, ya 3 ndio inakuwa ya mwisho. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, Governor Kawira alikuja hapa mara ya kwanza mwaka jana nafikiri, na talaka haikuweza kupita. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika ana fursa nyingine kuja hapa kuja kuangalia
ni vipi ambao utatokea matatizo yake. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kwamba ni masikitiko kwamba ushahidi uliotolewa haukuweza kuthibitisha makosa ambayo yamedaiwa kufanyika na Gavana Kawira. Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia makosa yote ambayo yamezungumziwa hapa na ushahidi ulioletwa haukuweza kufikia kiwango ambacho kimewekwa na mahakama ya upeo kabisa, yani Supreme Court, katika kuangalia masuala kama haya. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, itakuwa ni dhuluma kubwa kuweza kumpeleka nyumbani Gavana Kawira kwa ushahidi ambao haukufikia kiwango unachohitajika na mahakama. Mheshimiwa Spika, uamuzi utakaofanywa usiku wa leo hautasaidia yale matatizo ambayo yako Meru, samahani. Na ni jukumu la viongozi ambao wamechaguliwa wote kuhakikisha kwamba tatizo hili wameweza kulitatua wao kama viongozi wa Meru, kwa sababu matatizo ya Meru hayawezi kutatuliwa na viongozi wa kutoka Isiolo, hawezi kuchaguliwa na viongozi kutoka Mombasa, wala viongozi kutoka sehemu yoyote, isipokuwa watu wa Meru wenyewe wakae chini waangalie matatizo haya, waweze kuamua ili watu wa Meru waweze kupata maendeleo kama ilivyotarajiwa na katiba yetu ya mwaka 2010. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa kumalizia ni kwamba tumepata fursa ya kujua matatizo ya Meru, na fursa hii ni fursa ambayo iko katika kaunti zetu zote ambazo tuko nazo katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, na isiwe kwamba wakitoka hapa mmoja amesema mimi nimeshinda. La, watakaokuwa wameshinda ni watu wa Meru kupata uongozi na kupata viongozi ambao watasaidia kupeleka kaunti ya Meru mbele. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Senator Methu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to speak to this motion. Honorable Speaker, this evening I've been called upon to make a very difficult decision. A decision that if we send Governor Kawira home, then her career comes to a grinding halt. Honorable Speaker, as it has been said, the threshold of an impeachment has been set in Article 181 of the Constitution of Kenya. It has also been very well spelled out in the precedents that have been set in the decision of the High Court in the Wambora case and in the decision of the Court of Appeal in the Wambora case, Honorable Speaker. Well, I thank the County Assembly for, because it is within their functions to process an impeachment. When I looked at the charges that have been placed against the Governor of Meru, Honorable Speaker, as a person who sits in the Public Accounts Committee, I looked at the evidence that was adduced in charge number 1, misappropriation and misuse of county resources. And Honorable Speaker, as a member who sits in that committee, we all agree that an infamous extract cannot become evidence as to why and how the Governor of Meru is corrupt on this particular charge, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the charge number 2, on nepotism and unrelated ethical practices, when the council and the team from the County Assembly was called upon to come and give evidence in chief as to how the Governor of Meru is nepotistic, Honorable Speaker, they told us that it is public knowledge that the people that are in those photos are her relatives, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, how am I supposed to know that a person that appears in a photo is a relative of Senator Olekina, is my own relative? Many people have said that the person who was playing guitar on this video looks like myself. How am I not? How, Mr. Speaker, is it that finally, Honorable Speaker, on charge number 3, on bullying, vilification, and demeaning of other leaders, Honorable Speaker, the evidence that was brought by the County Assembly was of a man playing guitar here, singing when Wenyewivu Wajinyonge. You know, that was the accusation that the Governor Kawira demeans other leaders. On the contrary, Honorable Speaker, the video that was played by the defense of the Governor, Honorable Speaker, it printed an image of a patriarchal community, deep, painful images that I would never want. My own children, my own wife. Honorable Speaker, that is not the society that we would want for our daughters, Honorable Speaker. It is not a mistake for anybody to become a leader and she's a woman, Honorable Speaker. It is not a mistake, Honorable Speaker, and this is not the way that we can encourage our girls to become leaders, Honorable Speaker, that when you are a leader, if you disagree with other people, they use sexuality to harass you, Honorable Speaker.